Hey, and welcome back to Command Value 1. It's the post-Gencon show. I'm here with Don, as always, and Jordan. And we are joined by a very special guest tonight, Patrick.
The Swede.
Viking, the Swede. What other nicknames do we have for you? Adepticon Grand Champion?
Supreme Champion.
Yeah. And most recently, Gencon TO.
Yes.
So...
only way we could keep him from winning, right?
Hey, he did not win Origins.
He wasn't there, so
right? So we know two ways to keep Patrick from winning.
Make him work it or tell him not to show up.
So it's been a while since we've been back on. Last time we were here was the post-Origins show. Battle for Earth had released. There's been a lot of stuff going on, but we haven't really been able to talk about anything. We wanted to delve into specific unit deep dives, but given that there are some issues we're waiting to see errated with version 2, we decided that deep diving the unit stats right now might not be the best choice, as within another month we could see them radically changed and rebalanced. So we thought we would wait till post-errata before we start that deep dive, but with Gen Con we have plenty of things to talk about. So without further ado, do we just want to dive into what's new?
Sure.
All right. So, Don, you had a beautiful display case set up at Gen Con, and you painted some miniatures. It actually looks like you did some of the work that you bellyache about having to do all the time. I noticed you shoved the behemoth like way down into the underside of the case. You know, whatever. I didn't get to cradle it like a newborn child. It disappointed me. But there was a new, obviously, UCM vehicle and a new Shaltari starship. Do you want to talk about what those were?
Yeah. So the Shaltari monitor was in the case. That was pretty cool. Got to finally see one of those in person.
About the size of a frigate.
Yeah, it's about frigate size. Yeah, pretty much. Somewhere in the frigate to destroyer range.
Yeah, I thought it would be closer to a Corvette, but it is a sizable ship.
Yeah, and it's a different kind of sculpt for them. So they have it almost looks like the design, like the Havana.
Will those be resin, I take it?
Yeah, they'll be resin.
Okay.
So, and if you're not familiar with it already, it's of course statted in the Battle for Earth book, correct?
Yeah. So, and I actually did not get a chance to actually look up which one was in the case. So I do apologize for that.
It was the one armed with an ion cannon.
Is it okay? All right, I couldn't remember which one it was.
So let's say selenium. Let me check it.
All right. Well, Patrick looks that up. We also got a new UCM drop zone commander model in the case. So it's basically like a oversized Wolverine.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a giant Wolverine, probably going to be carried on a Raven B by itself.
Yep. And we showed off. Actually, we had the new titanium pattern.
Raven.
Oh yeah, the Raven.
The Raven right behind there. So
yeah.
Yep. So it brings it on solo.
Are those Ravens single sculpt or single cast?
I'm not sure yet, but if the 3D print shows anything, then yes.
I was a little surprised by that. I thought the wings would be maneuverable, but it's still a cool sculpt. But
yeah,
I digest.
I think it would be a little too fiddly if they had the wings separate, though.
You were coy on the Drop Zone Facebook group and commented, "Is this a new UCM commander?"
Yeah.
Is that a good hint? Is that a jackassery hint? Is this just a double-sized scout, or you can't say?
A good hint, but we haven't said anything official yet, so
it's officially unofficial.
Officially unofficial, I guess.
Fine.
Could you not see the large antenna on the top of it?
No, I didn't get too much of a chance to look. I was only there Saturday, and Don was a slave driver.
What?
He was like, "Work. You shut up and work." He's like, "The only time you don't shut up is when you're selling stuff." I was like, "All right, master."
And stop being mean to Louis.
Right.
I have to save the Louis stories for the end in case he listens. In case he does listen, we'll make him stick it out for all of it.
So we had a
And
couple other new non-drop Sony fleety things in there. So we had all the halflings are now. I think they actually just posted they'll be available soon.
So I don't talk about it a lot. I do some contributing to paint all the minis, and there's a couple of guys there who are looking at the halfling army as a warlord Aaron, Aaron, however you pronounce it, full army in a box at that point.
Yep, pretty much.
And I think Warlord even advertised it as that at one point too.
Yeah, they definitely would want to. They're hinting towards people using that army as the army in the game. There's actually some really pretty cool stuff in there.
The Adventurer box had some really cool sculpts in it.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea overall, but there were some cute minis in the box.
Yeah.
Some zombie halflings.
Some zombie.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, some drunks.
If I was still playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle 3rd Edition, I would make a halfling army out of them.
Yeah. I like the big stuff. I like the cockatrices and the bears, and the zombie cockatrice actually looks really cool.
What really tickles my fancy is this modular terrain set they've got coming out for fantasy.
Yeah.
The collapsed tower and the abbey and all that stuff is looking fantastic.
So those were not at Gencon, but those are available on the website now.
Yeah, they're on pre-order.
Yeah.
I gave Louis crap for not bringing those.
They also they previewed some more this week too.
Yeah, that stuff is looking fantastic. And
I'm personally looking forward to the halfling stuff to be available because I want some hobbit houses, man.
Well, and he commented to me that those sets are modular and that they're going to fit together a lot like the Industrial Hive, where you can just kind of, you put your abbey and your monastery together and you can just build up a big ass,
bridge
table worth of
between
terrain out of it. Yeah. That's going to be really cool for RPGs. It's going to be really cool for warlords. It's going to be just cool terrain.
No, we did have some hobbit houses at the booth to sell. I thought
there were some MDF ones.
Yeah, there were some MDF ones, but I think that we did some resin ones too for the Kickstarter.
Oh.
I'll have to look back on it, but anyway, so yeah, I definitely want to do some hobbit houses.
Halfling houses, anyway.
Whatever.
Hobbit's trademark.
I'm watching Lord of the Rings as we talk, so
Jesus Christ. You Tolkien nerds.
I mean, we don't want the estate to sue us for saying Hobbit, so.
I'm going to refer to them as Throbbits.
Throbbits?
From Lord of the G-String.
Somebody had to go there.
Google it. It's a real thing.
So what else was new in the case? We had...
Just going to say quite right off of that.
Just skip right over that. So we had the Ether Drakes to show for the Stellaris Kickstarter.
Oh, man, that's not even in my notes.
Yep. So we had the standard size, and we also had the 2-up version in the case.
It's amazing. That thing looked just like a giant space dragon.
Pretty much, yeah.
So... standard size and 2-up is the standard size. We take it as a game piece, and the 2-up, of course, is the standard. This is a display model, or
yeah, exactly, yeah. So the if you saw the standard size one, then that's the size of that ship in the game.
I can't fathom when they say 2-up that it's literally twice the size of the other one because it always looks bigger.
Oh yeah, it definitely does seem bigger, right? And a couple other hints we were able to say about the Stellaris game was, aside from that the initial Kickstarter being the models, we also have confirmed it's going to be a minis board game hybrid, and we're trying to port over as much of the game as we can to tabletop. Obviously, that game takes forever to play, so it's kind of one of those things where you have to sort of pick and choose your battles on what you want to bring over.
I asked Louis, I said, what can you tell me that I can say about Stellaris? And he stands up and he straightens his back and he puts his hands out and he's like, we're going to bring the Stellaris experience to the tabletop. I'm like, yeah, no, don't give me the line. Is there anything you can tell me about the game? He's like, well, we sent some stuff to Paradox and they said, well, we want this. He's like, so no, not really. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's still way in development. So even I don't know anything about the actual gameplay. Not that it would help me out since I haven't really played the game myself. So I gotta get some gameplay in between now and hopefully the Kickstarter, so I can know what the hell I'm talking about.
Was that it for what's new? Do we have anything else new to talk about?
I think that's about it for the new stuff. I mean, other than we finally got to actually see the New York board, not in person, but set up on the flyer.
Yeah, and there were a couple of the buildings there, and I looked at them, and I didn't grab them because apparently I'm a dumbass. I don't know.
Poor Jordan didn't get his Dicington Tower.
Right.
Aww.
I had every opportunity to set one aside at the beginning, but Thursday, that stack seemed fairly full, and then halfway through Friday, it was just gone.
Sorry, somebody showed their stash, and they bought 3 of them. I was like, oh man, it was about the whole pile.
Yeah,
I saw like the Helix Lab and I saw the Stadium, and I thought I should snag those, and I just didn't because I've got almost a tote full of TT MDF already, and I've got a Chrysler building, a Tyrosis I haven't even started building.
Did you say Chrysler?
Isn't it a Chrysler building?
It's a
Chrysler.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Don't get us in trouble now.
Just like it's not the Tyrell building. It's the Tyrosis building. Although those don't look the same, they just look.
Those are going to go really well with my not Blade Runner characters that are going to show up in Zombicide Invader. Not Rutger Hauer, not Harrison Ford, and not Daryl Hannah.
Didn't Command get into trouble over that a while ago?
They got in trouble over the Deckard one, and they actually had to change the sculpt on him, so he looks like like Ed Grimley instead of Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a flattering sculpt. They got in trouble over him. There was one that looked like Morpheus from the Matrix that they had to change, and that was like a radical change. And there was another one that I can't remember what he was, but they had to change him to look like. I mean, they completely replaced the mini. They didn't even try to resculpt it. It was just like a Space Marine. It was like an evil Space Marine that they replaced him with.
Yeah,
which is a cool looking sculpt. Don't get me wrong, but I should hopefully have that within like a week.
Could have had it right from the booth if you had just bought it on site.
Dude, I damn near all into that Kickstarter, so it's not like there was any point for me to go buy another base set. I don't need an extra 80 Zombicide Invader minis.
It was nice of them to sell it before fulfilling the Kickstarter, though, right?
I was getting a little salty about that, and then I turned the other cheek on that one. I went, you know what? I'm painting Ninja Turtles that I still haven't paid you for and won't until we forget that I owe you money for them.
Right.
And we'll talk about all that in hobby.
Wow. No ninja shopping for Derek then. I'm going to pay you back.
I still got to PayPal Gordo cash because I didn't bring any cash with me to Gen Con. So. He's like, you can go buy me something for $50 that I want. I was like, what would that be? I don't know.
Nothing.
What do you buy for the gamer that has everything?
Yeah, a lot of people are actually traded off their booth credit because I have a lot of repeat people help me at the booth, and they're like, yeah, I kind of got everything. I'm like, well, you're allowed to trade off your booth credit.
Yeah, I'm almost in that boat, Don, and I only work like one show a year for you. So.
Well, everything is relative, though, right?
So maybe I might suggest that you spend your $50 on a 10mm sized orbital gun. I know a guy.
So I bought a couple of they're supposed to be 28mm like weapon emplacements, and I'm gonna convert. One's a railgun. I'm gonna convert to look like a PHR defense battery, and the other one's a big plasma cannon. I'm gonna make it look like a Scourge or Shaltari weapon. And then I bought that Necron looking thing that Don got mad about. I think I'll make that the Shaltari one. I'll make the.
You cannot use that in our games.
Patrick, you were not in the booth. Don sees it. And he's like, "Why the fuck are you buying that?" I was like, I'm going to use it for a drop zone, terrain piece, like a critical location. You cannot use that in games we play. I'm like, I'm going to use it in every game we play now.
Sounds about right.
That's going to be the critical location. It's like, that's what you're going to have to go to win.
We just blow it up and no one wins.
Yeah, like you were angry about it, Don.
It's not fit in the game.
You're gonna have to wait till the MDF orbital defense laser comes out.
You're right. Yeah,
The official one.
I did ask for permission for him to make those, and I won't say anything.
I would. Yeah, I have no inside information.
Well, before we get Don fired, let's pop on to game recaps. And since Patrick's joining us, let's start with Patrick. I hear that Patrick got. I keep saying Patrick, like you guys don't know that it's Patrick.
Is it Patrick?
It's Patrick. It's Swedish Patrick, not Columbus Patrick, who I drove to Gencon with.
One of these days, I'll teach you how to actually pronounce my name.
How do I pronounce it?
Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Is that better? Was
Yes.
that close?
Yeah, no. Better.
Wow.
You're in America. You're going to say your name American.
Patrick.
Yes.
Just like the starfish on SpongeBob.
We'll sit down and have a pronunciation day someday, that Swedish guy. See, now I can't even say your name. Now I feel like I'm just going to pick it up. So you tried out some bolt action.
I did.
Where you did not play the Swedish Army.
No. Played it close I could. Germans. Such a good feeling blowing up Americans.
Oh. That was on the other side of the table, so it was.
Yeah.
Good
Oh my God! So now you're just getting your ass kicked by him in every game system.
Yeah. We almost won though.
Yeah. I had to leave before the game was done, so I had some substitute Germans trying their luck. But they managed to pull out the win in the end, so I'm happy. But it was a really good game. It's nice rules, pretty simple, but still deep enough with tactics. So I had a lot of fun.
How big a game did you guys play? Just like a little 500-point skirmish?
1,000 points, something.
Yeah, it was not bad.
Well,
We each
1,000
had-
points is like standard tournament size. So
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. We played on a 6x4.
okay.
Yeah. With 2 tanks on each side.
Oh yeah, you're playing 1,000 points then.
Yeah.
Easy.
5,
What
6
tanks did you
squads.
have, Pat? What tanks did you have?
I had a Panzer 4 and a Panzer 3, I believe.
Yeah, you were definitely around 1,000 points. Probably
Yeah.
2 or 3 platoons of dudes or squads of dudes.
Yep.
We were sitting on a Sherman. I forget what the other tank was called though. Do you
It was
remember?
a
Patrick?
Hellcat.
Hellcat, yeah, it was a Hellcat, yeah.
Open top, anti-tank gun. Big
Yeah.
ass anti-tank gun, yeah.
Mhm.
M18s.
And you also had your Superman, your paratroopers rushing across, blowing up Panzer 3 with their grenades.
Do they have gammon bombs on them?
We blew up a tank with them, so
Nice.
and then promptly retreated to a building.
Yeah. That was the point when I said, I'm out of here.
Well, if we're gonna go down that path, I have to get to work because I've only got about 500 points of airborne painted, but I've got a solid 1,000 points worth of U.S. airborne. So
Yep.
Let's see. There was a 3 focal point. It was a 3 focal point mission, and then there was intel papers.
Yeah.
So the intel papers were given to the Germans half of the board, though.
Yeah. Pretty good. Good choice, I think.
So we took over one pretty easily because the airborne dropped pretty close to it, and then we seized back one of the German occupied ones, and then we had the game won until we rolled to go the extra round, and it did, and they were able to get off the table at the paperwork. So
Yeah. You had a Sherman running up the road trying to contest those papers, but what happened to that one again?
The one that got blew up and the stupid, what was it, the Pack 20 or whatever it was?
The Pack 40.
40, yeah. We shot at it.
Yeah. Something like 6 to hit, 6 to penetrate, and 6 to damage, or something like that.
Yeah. He ended up getting a lucky shot and blew it up, and then it totally bottlenecked the entire board on that side of the table because it was centered dead. Oh, man. And I just put some machine gunners in the building that had died in front of, so they had to leave that building and go to another one because they were blocked.
Yeah.
I actually do not have a Sherman for all my airborne stuff. I picked up a 53 millimeter anti-tank gun for him to have some AT and a bazooka team.
Yep.
So
I heard that double bazooka jeeps are the thing for Americans.
Double bazooka jeeps?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, if you want to be broken and not have fun.
Yeah.
Oh, so if I play Resistance, I should go that route?
Exactly.
Sorry. I was just, assuming.
Yeah. We have proof.
So Jordan brought a small library of games to Gencon, though, so we got to play some of his stuff.
I saw you played some Trogdor.
Yeah, I missed out on that one. We were playing something else. There was 2 games going on the table.
Burn a Nation laying across the countryside.
No, by the time Trogdor started, that was kind of what a third of us didn't play, but it was kind of still around the whole table. Your burn down the forest game had ended because a couple of people playing that game still played Trogdor.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the game we played, but you had
Tower.
Fire Tower, yeah. You had towers in each corner, and there was a forest fire starting in the center. You were basically trying to change the positions of the wind and extend the forest fire to burn down your opponent's towers.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. We all ganged up on Patrick right away and got him out of there.
So Patrick didn't win. That's the important part.
No, we
First
ensured
we got
that if he was the... Did we get Cameron first?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we killed him first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I teamed up on Patrick and him. Then I could not pull any fire cards towards the end. I couldn't finish up the game. I would have won if I had just gotten at least one of those.
Well, I think Sky, Cam, and Terrell all told me that Jordan was cheating again. He played.
So the first night we were all there, we played Ticket to Ride, and out of all of us that played, most of us had played before, correct?
Patrick hadn't, I guess. Yeah.
Patrick hadn't, but pretty much everyone else had, I believe.
I mean, I only played once or twice, but yeah.
No. So I happened to grab a couple of routes that worked really well together. And no one had routes that interfered with them. In fact, their routes interfered with each other. So I had the highest point value routes, and everyone else was fighting over territory and was leaving me alone, which essentially allowed me to kind of silently collect a bunch of cards and then lay a bunch of huge 6-car routes. And
he wasn't smug about it at all.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing I've discovered about playing with Jordan, because I've played a few rounds of Terraforming Mars with him now. So it's every time I play a card, I'll say this is what I'm playing and this is what it does, and I'll pay my points for it. Jordan doesn't do that. He just does shit, and he's like, my turn's done. So you don't really know what he's doing. So it's not so much that he's cheating, it's that he's not giving you any information to play off of. You're just watching him do shit, and you're like, all right, cool, dude.
Right.
That's all he's got. Give him the board games.
Yeah, you got to make sure that he's telling you what he's doing, and that'll disrupt him.
Well, it was fairly clear what I was doing.
No, I knew that you were just building up and you were going to dump a bunch of shit on the table at once. It was obvious you were
when he was teaching Terrell and I how to play Terraforming Mars, he hops in at the end of the game and he starts buying like all the achievements. And I'm like 20 points ahead of everybody. I'm like, I got this in the bag. And then Jordan's like, no, I bought all the achievements, so I won everything. I'm like, fuck you, dude. You didn't do any terraforming. I did all the terraforming on this damn planet. And now you're like, oh, I won.
Right.
Like a real politician.
Like barely terraformed Uranus.
I think we did a round of terraforming Mars there too, and for that reason, I said no awards and no achievements.
But you still cheated your way to victory, didn't you?
No, I didn't win that one.
Who won that?
At least I didn't think I won that. I think Sky did.
Okay. Yeah, I was in the room painting, so I missed most of that.
So one of the better cosplays we saw at Gencon, you mentioned Sky, was a dude that showed up in a like sweet ass Inquisitor robe. He had his purity seals hanging off of him.
Oh yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, "Have you detected any heresy?" And he's like, "Always. I always detect heresy." So Sky had his little plasma gun there, and I was like, "That's xenotechnology." It's like, and he built it.
Yeah,
but Sky didn't die, nor did he lose.
That dude was an interesting character.
Well, I don't think you show up to Gen Con in an Inquisitor outfit and not be at least relatively interesting individual. I don't think that's your casual kind of gamer who's just like, you know what? Time to build an Inquisitor outfit.
Right, yeah. Especially when he's pushing mom around. So, anyway.
I didn't get to see the Zardoz cosplay, but I heard it was amazing.
So we had some fun there. I picked up a new Lord of the Rings game from Fantasy Flight, so I'll give a review on that when I actually get to play it.
So never.
I am actually trying to make a better effort to play my board games. So.
I bought one of those board game booster boxes that kind of like for charity for Toys for Tots.
Did you only buy one?
I only bought one. And here's the game was like, I opened it up and I was kind of disappointed in the 4 games. So disappointed that when we were down in the lobby for board games and I set that box to the side, I didn't think about taking it back up to the room, and it was obviously not in the lobby the next day. So
found a new home.
No way.
Yeah.
So I no longer had my copies of Rooster Rush or El Gaucho or I can't remember the other two. That's how memorable those were.
Man, I am sorry for your loss of subpar board games.
So I think it's a genuinely neat idea that, all these companies that go belly up and they have all these, piles of board games that could never get sold. There's this outlet that they can sell them for a decent cause. So,
At least you gave $50 to charity,
right?
Well, let's bounce over to hobby because we're coming up on our half-hour mark, and I know we've been gone for a while, but I don't think we want to do a 2-hour episode tonight because Jordan's like, I gotta go to bed. Right?
I got a second win at this point.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll probably hate you guys tomorrow, but
so as I butchered the pronunciation of Patrick again,
Patrick,
you've been working on some Revenant, haven't you?
Yes.
I thought you were a man of standard, but
some remnants or resistance.
I don't play resistance by principle, so I play remnants.
There's my man.
Yeah, I've actually been doing some conversion work, aiming at perhaps bring something to the Michigan GT, a remnant fleet, since we don't have that many ships out more than the plastic set.
Something more than hepatitis.
Yeah, exactly. So First out is the Corvette conversion. I'm pretty happy with.
You shared a few pics of that. It looks pretty sharp. It even looks kind of close to the model in the book.
Yeah.
If it had the underhang on it, it would be pretty close. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it. I just need to find it. Since my only version of it is stuck somewhere in a box, somewhere in Don's garage. Long story. And then on top of that, I started playing a little bit with GV contrast paints to paint these guys. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Lazy ass painter as I am, I find a way to skip a few steps. I'm happy.
Do they work that well?
Yeah, they did. Of course, they're nothing for a some sort of real painter that likes to take pride in their huge effort and hours spent on their single miniatures, like some people on this call. But for a guy like me that likes to have their stuff finished in time for a game, they are a good thing.
I would have liked to have seen what a second coat of that would have done for you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna continue to experiment with them.
I do have to imagine on things like PHR walkers, for example, that those contrast paints would speed up your process considerably if you were just doing a single tone. It's going to get your panel lining looking really nice. And I mean, I'm not going to buy any of them and use them because I've got too many paints already. Don't, Jordan.
What?
I know that you have more paints than God, but
there are plenty of people that have more paints than me.
Yes, they're called Sherman Williams.
No, but using if I look at the techniques I'm using with when painting, the contrast paints sort of replaces the first base coat, a layer of shade, and then the next coat on top of that. So it's almost 3 steps I can skip by adding that, and then perhaps add another step just to clean it up afterwards.
So, yeah, I was curious enough to watch a bunch of videos on them when they hit, and I saw a couple of what I think are good painters out there who are like, do they really save you any time? But they like try to paint at a Don level. They just do it like a lot faster.
Yeah.
And they didn't find that it saved them any time because of going back and cleaning up and fixing the spots because you had to repaint, rebase, and then repaint. And, so I guess probably depends on the project you're working on. Jordan, you were about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say hobby paints are like dice. You can never have enough.
You shouldn't microwave them?
Some work better in my hands than others.
All valid points.
Well, I've almost since
are illegal in Vegas.
I don't know if any of the paints are illegal in Vegas. Now I'm curious.
They're probably illegal in California, though. Because they don't say they could cause cancer, because it hasn't been proven that they don't.
I think you can drink them. I think they're safe. I hope they are, because I consume enough of them. Being a filthy brush liquor.
So the non-toxic part of acrylic paints is they aren't non-toxic to eat. They're just non-toxic to touch. They are quite toxic to ingest. That being said, a little bit on the tip of the brush is not going to be enough to do anything.
I base my paint usage off of taste, so I don't know what you're talking about. Army Painter is the best tasting paint out there.
I guess we'll find out when we're a little older and we've ingested enough of it.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out who protected their lungs the best from their airbrush overspray.
Well, apparently not me, because my asthma's not been doing good.
Well, as an 18-year smoker, I think I'm immune to the effects of the airbrush already. So
your lungs just laugh at it.
They're like, oh, that's what you're gonna try? Do you remember what we used to do to these things?
What's a little bit of paint dust on top of all this tar?
I coughed that shit out. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Maybe the paint helps with that.
It's just rattling off the remnants of the tar that's floating around in there from 6 years ago.
So you are a rattle can nowadays.
Since Origins wrapped up, I've almost painted the entirety of a Massive Darkness starter box. I've got 3 monsters left, and I started on the Ninja Turtles that I haven't paid Jordan for. And I made the hard call. I asked my Facebook friends for advice, and there was a little bit of a mixed advice. But I'm gonna go classic Eastman and Laird. I'm doing all red bandanas, so I can explain to 73% of the people that see the picture why I painted them all like Raphael. But I pulled out my old graphic novels, and I was thumbing through those, and I even reread a couple of old issues. I'm like, no, it's only right to do all red bandanas. So. And then I'll vanish, hopefully in a week and a half here, at most, when my Zombicide Invader box shows up, and I've got 300 sci-fi alien minis to paint. I won't be able to go to the MGT. I'll be too busy painting space zombies.
Painting a bunch of grays.
I intend to do them kind of like a gray and a white. Yeah. How did you know?
Just watch out for the probing.
Well, Don, what about you? You've been painting all sorts of stuff. Hell, Andrew Chesney is talking about you painting stuff on Instagram.
He was.
Yeah.
I didn't see the post. I'll have to look at it.
No.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of touch base on... I've been working on a few things, but I wanted to touch base on some larger models. So since I got the Behemoth, not done, but I've been working on it. It's kind of one of those interesting scenarios where you... how do you transition to a model that big, especially when you're doing 10 millimeter scale, if that's what you're used to doing? And then all of a sudden this thing is just massive. And so the biggest advice I can give you is definitely paint separate pieces. You know, build what you can. You don't have to do every single piece separate, but know where your limits are. And a lot of people get impatient. They want to build it right away so they can play with it and paint it later. At the very least, on the bigger models, pin them. So that way you can dry fit them to play with them and then redisassemble them later on to paint them properly.
Can I interrupt and just say, don't play unpainted, you fucking heathens?
Hey, man. I play unpainted, so shut up.
You fucking heathen.
And how many games do you win, Don? How many games do you win?
It's because unpainted armies can't win.
Exactly.
I win in my heart every time. So, but yeah, tempt the urge to at least get the building part of it done correctly, and then with the pinning and the dry pinning, so that way you can, if you do want to play unpainted like myself, you can just dry fit those pieces together, and then still be able to get to it later on. There's nothing like painter's remorse when you're like, oh yeah, it'd be all right, I'll build the whole thing, and then you get going on there, and you're like, I can't get to half this stuff. So.
I mean, I suffer painter's remorse usually when I look at my finished product, so.
Hey, man, prep is everything. So, but I just wanted to kind of put out a little public announcement on how to handle whenever we get these gigantic models coming in the mail system here.
I have to imagine, too, like that PHR one, there's just so many large, smooth surfaces on it that it had to be a pain in the ass to enjoy painting.
Not really. It's no different than, I mean, look at the Dreadnought. That hole is huge. So, if anything, it's actually a little easier because there's a little more leniency on how you do the pre-shade and stuff like that.
That's the reason to own an airbrush.
Yep.
Well, Jordan, do you have any hobby stuff to talk about?
Yeah. I think it's more kind of an update of what I was doing last time. I painted up a few more Gloomhaven figures. Because I guess going back into game recaps since last podcast, I got quite a few games of Gloomhaven in there in a short bit. Well, not full. I guess it's full. I don't know if you consider it games because it's a year of Gloomhaven of playing. Technically one game because it's all the same campaign, I guess. I don't know. Scenarios, if you will. But unlocked one of the first secret characters. I don't know if you've ever played Gloomhaven, you kind of your party is a rotating roster, and you set these certain goals, and then after you hit the goals, you're supposed to retire that character, and that allows you to open up new character classes. And it's part of the reveal for the game. You're not supposed to open the box or learn anything about that next character class till you unlock it.
So literally, I have to play the entire game going, "What's in the box?"
Yeah. You could be that guy that says that every time.
Well, clearly, I am that guy.
Right. And then I started working on a couple of the. I guess they're not super new anymore, but a couple drop zone buildings, bigger ones. Actually, just priming up the Tyrosis building tonight.
You kind of hemmed and hawed while building that thing.
So I popped it apart and was like, yeah, I'm going to glue this together. And then I looked at how it went together and was like, yeah, I need to paint this before I glue this together.
Already learning the lesson Don just taught you.
Yeah, well, and they were already off the board. So I probably should have. It would have been easier to do a mass paint if I would have left them all in the sheets.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not.
Lessons learned.
I'm gonna give that a try with my next set of terrain. I'm gonna attempt the old pre-paint.
I personally do pop them out though, because if you don't, then you got the dark like laser cut edges, and you need to kind of be able to spray everything when you paint them.
Yeah.
It depends. I mean, sometimes you actually don't want the laser cut char marks to.
Maybe you don't, pal. That was a longer pause after that than I felt there should have been. I'm sorry.
That's quite sharp, man.
That was supposed to be like a dick statement. I was just being a smartass.
Well, and like anything else, you're going to have to touch up after you assemble.
Right.
I've actually been working on some of the bolt action terrain that I snagged at Gencon. The TT Combat MDF stuff. They're actually pretty nice as well.
I was looking for some of that, but there wasn't much left.
Yeah. If you wanted a set, you should have asked ahead of time.
Don, I didn't know I wanted a set ahead of time.
Snooze, you lose, man.
Right. I'll get that from you for the GT.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna be there, right?
No, but Jordan will drive right past me.
Right. Will I though? A half hour out of the way.
He will literally drive right past you and not stop.
Jordan just told me the other day that you wanted to come down to Columbus for a game day, so I'll just get it from you then.
I don't have any left, so.
God damn it, Don. No.
Sold it all.
He wasn't talking about coming all the way to Columbus.
Oh, yeah, he did talk about. Don, did I understand you wanted to come to my house and play games?
Yes, I would like to. You don't invite me over ever. You're embarrassed to me.
Want to come and hang out in my basement?
I heard there was good. There was mention of good food at your house, so.
Well, I didn't get this fat by not having food around, so. Well, Jordan, did you have anything else on hobby?
I mean, I'm sure there was other hobby in there that I've done, but I can't remember it now, though. So.
All right. Well, let's jump into the whole reason we brought Patrick on tonight. Don made him run the narrative event for Drop Fleet and the tournament for Drop Zone over at the GT.
I did not make him.
He put on a red hat and threatened Patrick with deportation if he didn't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can talk about the Fleet one. I know you've run that before. But the one that truly interests me is that this was the first major version 2 tournament. So I guess, I mean, if you want to chat about
I can take just a minute to talk a little bit about the Fleet event first and have that over with. I made some changes from Adepticon and made it a little bit faster paced, more action, but still we had PHR versus the world. But this time Shaltari joined up with PHR and the other side. I don't know how that exactly worked out, but
those tribes don't like each other, man.
Yeah, but it looked like people had a lot of fun, and the game ran smoothly. People were enjoying themselves, and that's the important part, I think. And had some friendly faces that actually played at Adepticon that came around and wanted to play again, so they showed up to this event as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What was their feedback?
That they enjoyed the changes to make the pace of the action go a little bit faster, especially from first few turns. Otherwise, they say that it feels like it's a solid scenario now. I have some more ideas I can explore if I get a chance a third time. But otherwise, it's something that works.
Good, yeah. We'll force you to play locally since we have not actually been able to play ourselves.
Yeah, I have to do that.
Well,
all right.
Let's
so that
hear
was
it.
All right. Did you want to know something more?
So it ended up a fairly close score again too, right? Like
yeah.
Both times you ran it, it's now, is that the nature of just how the game went, or is that more of a pacing? Is that how you ran it, or
no? Actually, we had the funny thing is that we had 2 boards now, 8 players, 4 on each side. So we had 2 versus 2 on 2 different boards with their huge fleets, and on both sides of the board, you had one side winning quite convincingly, not like any pushover win, but quite convincingly. But it was from the other side, so that you had in the end, the team score became very, very close to each other. But part of it is that, of course, the pacing of the points and things like that makes it generally so that you won't see anyone running away with too many points. Mm-hmm. But if we have had the same team winning on both boards, they would have a walkover victory. But it felt like they were pretty evenly balanced overall.
That's good. If we get through a third time, kind of balance out the last little bits, then I can send it over to the office, and maybe we can do like a free PDF download.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's all good fun, and it's fun to be a GM for miniature wargaming as well, where you can pull some shenanigans on the players and make them think twice about pushing buttons when they enter stations. I don't know why. Every time I tell them, hey, your guys that enter the station, they have buttons before them. What do? They all yell, we push them.
Well, especially if they're candy red buttons. I mean, you can't deny a candy red button.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Shaltar player actually sent Pungari into the station.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, of course he hit the button when he sent the Pungari. Yeah. I mean, okay.
Even if you didn't want the Pungari to hit the button, they hit the button.
Yeah.
Right. Shiny and red, they can't help themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like Pungari only speak like Pikachu, so like Pungari.
Later. I'm thinking that they are more like the Diablo 2 imps. Which reminds me, I need to do a Pungari Freedom Fleet one of these days.
It's just like 4 threshers and that's it.
I mean,
So are you going to have the Thresher in your remnant fleet?
I'm thinking about it. I need to pick a couple of them up. My current list I'm playing around with would include 1. But maybe I should pick up a couple more.
I mean, it has a very limited drop capacity, so.
almost no drop at all.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So
It's just like the drop of an entire Chaltari fleet.
I have to figure out how many I can include in one list.
Aren't they rare?
they are rare.
Are they? Are they?
I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
I thought they were rare, but
Oh,
I could be wrong. It's drop fleet, so I won't quote rules at drop fleet like
you are often wrong, so that's
right.
right.
Wrong. Right. Which one? What?
Well, let's delve into this. This is the we're in the home stretch now, and this is the important question. Version 2 drop zone. You ran a surprisingly larger tournament than we expected. At one point, it looked like you were going to have like 4 players, and you ended up with what, 9?
Yeah, it started out with up until the first a minute before the tournament started. I knew that I had 6 players. 6 players showed up, and everything was prepared. I had every material I needed, and everything was set. Then 3 guys showed up and started asking me a couple of questions, and then pulled out a tick and said, "Oh, by the way, we entered this tournament." So I had to scramble yeah, I had to scramble and put up a few more tables and set it up. But overall, it ended up pretty well. We had a father-son team, which had both joined the tournament, but the son hadn't assembled all of his things yet. So I had Sky volunteer to play him a sort of a teaching game with his stuff. And I think in the end, he had really fun. We helped him out assembling his stuff and played his game, and he was a really good player. And his father played in the tournament while he was doing this. So I ended up with 8 participants that were actually sort of in the tournament. So that I would say that is a pretty good turnout for a Gencon.
So we know that there are some questionable rule issues. We're waiting on the errata. How many of those issues reared their ugly heads? How much? What did you find yourself trying to, as a TO, rule on for the event?
So I started out everything with telling people that this is a new rule set. We know there are some issues, and I went through a couple of them early, and I told them that if you encounter things, use your common sense. Don't be dicks. Have fun, because if you start trying to, you can read the rules there like a lawyer and skew them to a little bit whatever. But in the end, I started, at least the first 2 hours, I went across the tables and asked them and said, "Hey, what are you guys encountering?" and made rulings on the spot and made sure I spread those rulings across the boards to try to make the flow going. I think we had a pretty good flow with people sort of taking these rulings for what they were and not complaining really.
Would you say by like what, round 2, round 3, you had the rule issues kind of hammered out? And you were
more or less. I know that there were some rules that were still confusing for people, and people probably played more or less wrong until the end. I'm looking at you, collateral damage.
That was going to be one of my questions. We know collateral's a little foggy. Did the reduced weapon rule end up rearing its head, and did we have a lot of infantry causing havoc?
No, not directly. I had to actually remind a couple of people about that. Yes, the new rules, I wanted to make sure that people were not being cheated out of things they could do. So when someone was complaining that his infantry could only hurt war suits on 6s, and he was sad that he always lost the fights, and I told him, but why don't you combine your close action hits to 1 hit so you can kill at least one stand on 2+. So that was a little bit of a revelation for some people. But then, of course, I think a couple of the lists were really skewed towards killing people in buildings. So as soon as the infantry started trying to go to the walls to shoot and things like that, they got bombarded out. I'm looking at you, triple barrel bomber list.
I heard about the triple barrel bomber list. So I was going to say something that completely went out of my head. Yeah, you just go on. I'll try to remember what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so I would say that some of the sort of objective list points, some of the weirdness with embarking, disembarkation rules. We did some on the spot, sort of common sense rulings where we know that this is how it should be done to make the game flow. So the ruling was that let's do it how we can do it so the game flows. And then you have, of course, some weird situations with some not updated stats or incorrect stats in the files that needed some impromptu rulings on.
So there's a very alpha strikey nature to CQB nowadays. Did that end up really deciding any games early on?
Yes and no, I think. To some degree, of course, there are some situations for it. But at the same time, I think that people were tried to spread out. So, for example, targets of opportunity, where it suggests that you should only have 3 objectives. I made it 5 objectives to try to spread it out a little bit.
So you're really mitigating the opportunities for close quarter battle at that point?
Yeah, no, perhaps not, or make it so that as long as you're not throwing away all your infantry into one bad combat, you should at least have the opportunity to gather a couple of objectives. Otherwise, with just the 3 objectives in the center, it becomes very focused on just those 3 fights. And if you fail those 3 fights or go in too early with your infantry, you're screwed. But
so go ahead. What kind of feedback did you get from the players after the event? I mean, was there...
So 2 things that I generally got from the players. First of all was that they still had fun. The basis of the game is very fun. It's very cinematic in its way, how it plays when it flows. But that they, and at least what they told me, was that they think that a lot of the wordings in the rule book is very weird. It's very weirdly structured, how you find out how to use the rules properly. There might be a sequence of events in a game that is just one sequence in the game, but is written into like 5 different pages of the rules that you have to try to puzzle together. And the players thing, at least the feedback I got was that they were happy that at least I could make some judgment calls on this and was available to try to explain and tell them how I thought it would be flowing. But then, so people said that they had fun, but that they recognized the issues that were there.
So having the opportunity to run a over half dozen players through 3 rounds of competitive play, how, in your mind, how large do you imagine the errata is going to have to be in order to properly clarify and clean the issues that we're facing with the game, and how much of the units are going to need restructured?
So the units themselves need a proper rebalancing. So that's sort of that needs to be done from ground up. Someone needs to go through them faction by faction and really iron them out. Including a lot of experienced players there, just to make sure that you think about how these things can be abused.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see there are a couple of things that really needs errata, and there are a couple of sections where I would say that you need to sort of rewrite the structure of how you describe the rule, what the intention is. Thinking about the disembarkation, embarkation ruling, and the collateral damage rulings, and how they work, so that you can get all that information gathered in a more logical, concise way. So perhaps that you don't change exactly how it works, but that you change how it's written, so that you can get a
clarify how it works.
Yeah. It's almost that both of those rules are situations where I almost want to take the rule book and try to make a flow chart, understand how it should be working according to the rules. Because otherwise, there are a lot of things where things are flowing well. People like the additional speed of it. The CQB is actually not that badly received from people playing it as it could have been. So
I did notice overall you made pretty good time on the tournament.
Yeah. Especially the people, there were these 3 new guys that showed up, New York guys. They were very experienced players and kept their games going with a good pace. And I made a note to myself just to make sure that I had a clear understanding of where people were in the game, so that I could set the sort of final turn in advance for them, so that they could prepare for it if there were focal points and things like that, and make sure that they early on did not get the situation where 5 minutes before end of a game said, "Oh, by the way, put down your dice, it's over now." More like a half an hour I gave them, say that, "Hey guys, I see that you have been spending the last half an hour on one turn, so we'll just get the next turn, so make sure you're prepared for this."
Yeah, I know when ITO, I always try to yell out half an hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, just so everyone knows, hey, your time is ticking down.
Yeah, I think I made it even more personal with that regard. I tried to sort of make a judgment call on each table, where I felt like, because there were some guys that were like, they were getting the tempo up, and I'm like, but you guys, you will be able to finish 2 turns. While I see another table where I see that they have been struggling with the turn 2, and I'm like, okay, guys, it's half an hour left.
Man, if you met the people that I TO for, I don't want to get personal with those guys.
Yeah.
Wait.
But that's just because you know that I bite you in the finger if you do.
Half the people on this podcast don't have a reputation for being slow. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do I have a reputation for being slow? I don't think I do, because I don't actually put any thought into my activations. I just move. I'm going to move this here and shoot at stuff. I don't care. I don't care if that's the right call. It's just a call.
Yeah, that's the motto I need to adapt to as well.
So overall, Patrick, do you think that the tournament improved or harmed your feelings for version 2? Do you feel better about it having TO'd it?
I actually feel better about it, TO'd it, because I feel that there is a potential for a salvage of it if the sort of the company gets into gear and gets things out and really include the wealth of experience you have in the community to give feedback on these things, and make sure that you have the use that information as much as possible.
I hear that. Will you have any other things that you want to go over with the events or tournaments, or?
I had a blast also doing a lot of demos during my time at Gencon, and not the specific events, but had a lot of players coming in that became interested in Drop Fleet, and also Carnival, where I spent a lot of time. So that was a blast.
I will say the Saturday I was there, I think I ran 6 to 8 demos, and I think one of them did not walk away without at least a starter box. So
yeah,
none of them were in Ohio though. So Don's been awfully quiet. I don't know what he's doing. I'm worried about him now.
I just let Patrick go off on his.
Yeah, company man.
Yeah.
Jordan, did you get away from the demo table at Gen Con this year? I mean, typically you get stuck there. I think you got a little more time away than you normally do.
Actually, well, this year I haven't really been stuck at it that much. Don's had me more helping generally all the way around and then filling in at the demo table.
I gotta say, your Siren cosplay was not as hot as I hoped it would be.
Wait, huh? I do not remember this. So, yeah, no, I really wasn't stuck there much at all. After Terrell was gone on Sunday, just for who was left, I spent basically the last half of the day, or most of the day on Sunday, running Rumble Slam demos. But outside of that, I think I popped in for 3 or 4 drop fleet demos and 1 zone demo for the whole entire weekend.
Wow, yeah, that is rare for you.
You're welcome.
I think that me
Thanks,
and Cam decided together that we didn't know the game of Rumble Slam, so we had to find someone that could actually teach people
Right.
actually play it.
Well, Don was enjoying himself the first couple of days, and then silly old me, I just had to tell him on Saturday, I was like, yeah, I ran plenty of Rumble Slam demos. No big deal. No big deal.
I actually meant to do a lot more demos throughout the week, and then I got caught up in like paperwork, and we had some technical issues with our point of sale and stuff I had to deal with.
You had a surprisingly large booth crew this year. It didn't. I mean, it was constantly busy, but it didn't feel like crazy. At any
the crew.
point when I was
The crew
there,
was everybody was amazing that helped out this year. I've been slowly sort of like getting up like the crew, you know what I mean? So and a few backups because every once in a while life happens. Like we lost Alex at Gen Con because he had a personal issue he had to deal with. So having some backups is always good. So
Never hurts to have what you need +1.
yeah, and then giving some new people a chance to not being so closed that you only want to use your dudes. So this year we picked up Steve. He previously would help out Ninja Division, but since they're having their issues over there, he asked if he could help out. And since Ninja and Hawk in the past had shared booths, he was familiar with everything. So gave him a shot. Steve ended up being a real cool dude, and it was really nice having him over.
Well, Don, I've got one last thing for us to talk about here at the bottom of my list, and it's about a event that you're running in a couple of months. Do you want to talk about it?
Yes, I will. That was really seductive.
What do you want to say?
So at the Michigan
Johnny
GT
boy.
this year, I bugged Dave enough to come over and TO our events.
Wow, way to bury the lead, pal.
Wow. So much build up, and that's how you say it.
I give you the sexiest voice I got, and you're just like, yeah, my bug Dave till he came over.
It's not like
no big deal.
It's not like he didn't just spam this out in all the drop zone drop fleet.
It's not like you didn't get the creator of the game to fly here from the United Kingdom just to come to your little tournament and run them. No big deal.
Nah, I gave I'd asked him. I knew he wasn't going to be able to make it to Gen Con, and so that would have been his whole total loss for him to come over to the U.S. for the year. And there's we have some friends and stuff he likes to hang out with. So
not us, by the way, listeners. We're not the friends he wants to hang out with.
Yeah, not even me. So, but anyway, so we worked it out together so he could get a little half vacation out of it, and then, and he genuinely wanted to come over and get a couple of days with the community as well. So it was a combination of those two things, and he's pretty excited about coming over and running a couple events. He'll get a little bit of a a primer leading up to it by doing the London GT events, but ours will be better.
So it'll be kind of nice and neat where he won't. He's always been a pretty busy person at the when he's over here for Gencon. I'm sure he's the same way if he shows up to salute.
Yeah, because the GT is definitely more tournament based than any kind of sales. Excuse me. So I'll be putting everything together for him. He'll come over and TO it and get his hands on the possibly playing if he needs to, and then also get to talk to everybody that shows up, and actually has a community presence over here, which is always important. So it's the Michigan GT, Lansing, Michigan at Causeway Bay, weekend of October 12th.
So have you sold it like, come over to our beautiful capital?
Yeah.
We have cookies.
Overlord Shivak and I will be having our own Ohio GT with blackjack and hookers. We're not going to the MGT because life got in our way again.
Yeah. Fortunately,
Don
Derek
won't reschedule.
Nope, I can't. Whatever. So, your loss.
It is. Yeah, I'm extremely disappointed. If my niece calls off her wedding, then I will beg Jordan to take me with him.
Missing two of the biggest community leaders for selfishly for family reasons and work reasons.
Sorry, man. You know I'd be there if I could. I've been there the last 2 years.
No,
I'm blessed every year, but
yeah, it's always been good. So, actually, I was bugging work to try and get a whole New York board early enough that I can get it painted up and have top table be the full New York board, which would be pretty
Don,
cool.
you've only got 2 months.
Yeah, dude, come on. You know how slow I paint.
That's what I'm saying. You've only got 2 months.
Right.
So if he gets it next week, it still won't be enough time.
Are you sure you don't want to have them ship it to Jordan or I so we can actually get it done for you?
Maybe. So, but yeah, it'll be a good time. Let's see, I got Fleets on Saturday and Zones on Sunday.
I thought it was the other way around.
Other way around.
Is it? Okay.
It is the other way around. I'm glad you're running this event.
There we go.
He's not. David.
Right, yeah, exactly. And I'll be selling stuff, so I'll have whatever new we got available, I'll have on site as well. So
Patch will be over at the bolt action table.
Yeah, right. Patrick has to defend his crown, right?
Yep.
Did you win last year?
Probably not.
No. Yeah.
No, Rob won last year.
Yeah,
Rob
I won all my games, including against Rob, but he leapfrogged me in the points.
Oh my god! Here we go. That's why the tournament points got changed, Patrick. You complained enough that
I have.
No, the whole Ohio group came up, and we were bound and determined Team Ohio was going to win the MGT, and we all placed firmly in the middle of the pack. I think Jordan was our highest placer. He got 3rd place. We all wore the same stupid shirt even, and yeah, we just sucked it up.
Right.
Yeah. Credited for 2nd place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Math Zone Commander is the hardest commander, Don. Well, let's roll on into final thoughts here. We're running up on an hour 15. Jordan, let's start with you. You got any final thoughts?
Looking forward to GT now that I know Dave's going to be there.
Josh and I aren't. You're looking forward to not seeing us, I know.
Right. Looking forward to seeing what new releases are on the horizon now that looks like some casting printing issues are hopefully behind TT Combat. So I know that created a lull in some releases. So hopefully some of the next few might be zone or fleet related. I'm kind of begging here
Throw us a bone, Don. Patrick, how about you? Any final thoughts?
I must say that Gencon really got me fired up to get some games in. Both Bolt Action, Drop Zone, and Drop Fleet are definitely on the horizon for me to play more of this coming months. My Remnant fleet also started to get me really fired up to get something done for that. And on top of that, the news of Dave coming to GT makes me really happy, and I really can't wait until October.
What about
you
you,
had a
Don?
chance to, Patrick? Have you met Dave before?
No, I never met him.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, there you go.
I've talked to him on Discord and things like that, but never in person.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Jesus, don't try to intimidate him, Patrick.
Yeah, I don't know, will he arrive on Friday? So one could kidnap him for a one-on-one game?
Maybe. I mean, he'll be there Friday, but I don't know. Let's see if he plays or not.
Yeah. I'm sure we need to ask him what's his favorite drink so we can get him to spill the beans.
Probably worth him getting on a game in so he knows what he's doing for the tournament.
What the fuck? Can you do that? Yes, you can, Dave.
He just walks around with a rule book in his face the entire time.
I'm looking forward to the GT, of course, now that everything's lined up and the stars are aligned and Dave was able to come out. I'm also really looking forward to PAX Unplugged. So this would be our first year at PAX Unplugged. We are confirmed. Yeah, we won't have any events this year. We're just kind of going out, scoping it out. Demos and sales for PAX this year. But yeah, it'll be in Philly. It's finally a city that we're going to. I'm actually kind of excited to be at. So I might do a little historical walking around and seeing a few things.
Awesome.
But yeah. Yep.
Well, getting the chance to talk with Patrick tonight and hearing about V2's kind of confirmed some of the things that I've been thinking about it going forward. All I've really gotten to play is demos going forward, and some of the issues that had come up, obviously, had stuck out. As seems to be the standard now, quoting Huey Lewis, all I can say about V2 is I am not in love yet. Hopeful that the upcoming errata and rebalance is going to fix a lot of that. And like Patrick said, hopefully as playtesters and beta testers, we can get in there and also be impactful in making sure that that this version comes up to the level that it needs to be and should be at for the community as a whole. I am bummed about the GT because I don't get to be there, but I don't know. Like I said, maybe they'll get cold feet and change the wedding date, and I can be there. That's horrible. I shouldn't think that. But as always, if you're listening to us, we appreciate it. Please hit that like button, subscribe to us, and share us with other people that you think you might be interested in listening to us. Patrick, I'm screwing up your name again anyways, because that's just how I say it now. Thanks for joining us tonight. I know it was short notice, and I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us and chat about the con.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Gentlemen, we should probably do this again sooner than later. I think if we keep waiting 6 weeks before podcast, people are just going to assume that we're dead.
Or Josh will say it anyway.
Right. But if nobody else has anything, night, guys.
Auf Wiedersehen.